Screamboat is a monster movie slasher comedy film directed by Stephen LaMorte. He also produced The Mean One, which is a Grinch parody, as well as Terrifier, maybe. This movie is definitely tenuously connected to that franchise, with David Howard Thornton, who plays Art the Clown, also plays Steamboat Willie in this movie. This movie is essentially a cash grab because of the public domain IP wars that's going on. If you're unfamiliar, certain projects became into the public domain because it's been so long. The most notorious one being Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which is based off A.A. Milne's work in the vaguest sense, but essentially the 100-acre wood citizens are monstrous, evil versions, and they want to kill Christopher Robin and his friends. So ever since that movie sort of made money, people have been sort of racing to get their own sort of version of certain characters. Doesn't matter if it's not good, it matters if it's done fast and first. So there's also been a cinematic universe for that, with them wanting to make evil Bambi, evil Peter Pan, evil Captain Hook, just any character they can vaguely grab their hands on. More characters that have fallen into the public domain are Popeye the Sailor Man without spinach, Sherlock Holmes without the deerskin cap, I think Tintin the reporter but without the dog, and a few others. And there's always been characters that are always been public domain, like Peter Pan, and Night of the Living Dead is also the George A. Romero film. So there's no one stopping anyone from making like King Arthur versus zombies or King Arthur versus vampires, but those cost money, and making a cheap slasher, this whole subgenre, is basically like those Bruce Willis movies. Before we found out Bruce Willis had dementia, he starred in a lot of these direct-to-video European-produced action films, thriller films that were super cheap, $1 million each. Put him on the poster. He's in the movie for 5 minutes. He's in the movie for 10 minutes. He plays like the dad of the main character who shoots shotguns one guy or something. Maybe not even. Sometimes he's got an earpiece in his ear and you can see them feeding him lines. These movies cost $1 million to produce. They're cheap. You make several every couple months. You market them in Europe. You make like $3 million. You get half that back. Rinse, wash, repeat. And they probably do the same thing for this one. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 only cost about $1 million, but made about almost $8 million. So you're getting back 4 of that. And so you're essentially making profit. And these will keep being made because they're super cheap to make. And you can make a little bit of money. So in this case, I thought the movie would be a little bit classier than those other knockoffs because it has something to do with Terrifier. Stephen LaMorte, he's a producer on those films, but he doesn't seem to do anything different. Or there's actually no way to know because this is the only film I've seen of those. I haven't seen the other ones to compare, but I heard they're dreadful. But this one does have good gore, like the Terrifier films, and it has David Howard Thornton as Steamboat Willie. He plays a mischievous mouse, little humanoid creature that escapes from the bottom of the Staten Island ferry when 2 dock hands open up something at the bottom of the ship. So he begins attacking people because he's free and the ferry's in fog. So there's all these cliches forming to cut them off from the mainland, comms and stuff like that. And we're following a server named Selena who wants to be a fashion designer, but she's having trouble dealing with New York and the dirty ferry and a birthday group trying to follow her on there and be besties. And there's a whole myriad of commuters just trying to get home in the middle of the night. And Pete, he's like an employee there. And Steamboat Willie starts killing people, but it's really repetitive. Basically, a person will be alone. They'll hear a whistling of a famous song, and then they'll hear the pitter-patter of feet. Out of the corner of their eye, they see something, and then they get stabbed by something or get their ankle slashed by Willie. And Willie's only 2 feet tall. That's kind of like the hook of the movie. And so instead of like a big slasher hulking you down with an axe, it's like a little guy jabbing you with a broken stick or something, or a knife or something. And it looks crappy sometimes. The green screen doesn't work. Sometimes they use a puppet. The gore is fine, but the movie doesn't do anything new in terms of story-wise or monster movie-wise or slasher-wise. I do like the kills. Some of them are really good. And the humor is really great between the human characters. They all have this sardonic sort of realization that they're in a dangerous situation, so they like to swear at each other, and they're funny. They're not really well developed, but they do make you laugh. So besides that, it was an entertaining film, but it definitely was not, I thought it would be better than it was. It's not supposed to be high art, but this was kind of just, it felt really like cheap and lowbrow, and they could have done a lot more with the story. There's an interesting animated flashback that's pretty cool for the origin of Steamboat Willie. But overall, I felt this movie was just all right. It could have been better. There's only so many times you can slap from the producers of Terrifier on something to get butts in seats, and then there's only so much goodwill you have, though. After a while, people start not wanting to watch these anymore. So I give Screamboat a 4 out of 10.